First off, good evening, Council. Thank you for giving the time to give a quick presentation, John as well, and thank you all for serving. I know firsthand it's quite a thankless job, and I know all the time that goes on behind the scenes that the public doesn't often see, and thank you for all of that. So with respect to time, normally this is about a 35-40 minute presentation that we put on and go in depth. I'm going to go rattle through this, and I'm going to try to get done in about 10 minutes here because I have another presentation at 7:15. So, just to start off, yeah, we're going out for an operating levy on November 4th. On November 4th, Cannon Falls Area School District voters will be asked to support a $950 per pupil, subject to an annual increase at the rate of inflation operating levy to support the day-to-day operations of the school district. This would give the school district operating revenue estimated at between $700,000 and $950,000. I also want to add, by putting that rate of inflation, that would have nothing to do with the school. That would be tied to the consumer price index, which is set by the federal government. So I'm going to play a quick video here. I'm hoping I can get this to work.
After headlines across Minnesota declared record school funding in 2023, you may be asking yourself, why are so many school districts making budget cuts and going to voters for more funding? Here are the top reasons Minnesota schools are struggling to balance budgets. Number one, inflation. Families aren't the only ones feeling the impact of rising costs. For school districts, the costs of labor, health insurance, property insurance, and school bus transportation continue to rise. The 2023 inflationary increase to the general education formula is a step forward, but it doesn't make up for decades of underfunding and failing to keep up with rising inflationary costs. Number two, unfunded and underfunded mandates from the state. When it comes to some of the most costly things schools have to pay for, it's the state legislature, not the local school board, who makes these decisions. From implementing new instructional strategies to increasing curricular requirements to providing unemployment benefits, there are decisions made at the state level that local districts must follow. While the state may offer one-time funds to help pay for some new requirements, the ongoing costs are often the school district's responsibility. And number three, the changing role of schools in our communities. The needs of students are different than they were 10, 20, or 30 plus years ago. From mental health support for students, specialized learning assistance, family resources, and career programs to help meet workforce needs, schools have taken on additional responsibilities to meet the needs of their students and community. When you add rising safety needs, aging buildings and technology, and declining birth rates, it's clear why Minnesota districts struggle to balance their budgets. School funding is complex, with the majority of funding coming through the state in the form of general education aid. Schools also receive funds for specific categories that can only be spent on certain items. Additional needs are then covered by property taxes. In other words, just because the state is providing us with more dollars doesn't mean we can use those dollars wherever we like. Each year, we tackle the challenge of balancing these funding sources with our increasing expenses to build an effective budget that meets student needs. When our student needs exceed state and local funding, we may seek additional support through a referendum. As you can see, there's more to the story beyond headlines of schools receiving record funding, inflation, unfunded mandates, and a changing role for schools. Funding schools is an investment in our students, community, and future. Please reach out to your elected officials and share your story so they can help do their part to make sure our students and our schools are receiving the resources they need for success. Visit our website to learn more.
All right, the need for additional funding isn't new. We've made reductions over the past 7 years to address our budget challenges, align teaching and sports positions to enrollment, increase class sizes, reduced apartment and building projects, delayed maintenance project, and facility updates. Last November, we asked voters to consider an operating levy, and that failed. The need is real. As a result of the unsuccessful levy last year, the district was forced to make nearly $800,000 in reductions for the 25-26 school year. This included eliminating teaching positions, eliminated coaching and advisor positions, increased or created fees for facility use and activities, eliminated technology plus curriculum subscriptions, restructured administrative positions, delayed a bus replacement purchase, eliminated a bus route, and reduced district budgets. Despite our financial challenges, great things are happening in our classrooms. Cannon Falls area Cannon Falls area schools are the leader in the area in test scores. Our reading and math scores have been above the state average for the past 5 years. Our career and technical educational courses are preparing students for high demand and well-paying jobs after graduation. Our food service program is a recognized leader in the state. U.S. News and World Report has placed Cannon Falls area schools in the top 20% of high schools in the state. Cannon Falls area schools offers competitive academic and enrichment programs that other school districts don't offer. And we are committed to hands-on and experimental learning. A lot of different things that are shown in this picture here is kind of a shout out to our Ed Foundation and different things that our Ed Foundation provides that the normal school budget doesn't cover. Our graduation rate is above the state average. So why the need for voter funding? In this graph you can see the bottom dashed line, that is what the funding that we are receiving per pupil. If you look at the very top line, that is if funding would have kept up with inflation, what we would be receiving. So if you look all the way from 2003 all the way to 2025, we have a $1,470 funding gap. That equates to about $1.5 million less that we are receiving. The current referendum that we're looking at going for, we're hoping for somewhere between $850,000 and $950,000. So still a lot less than what we should be receiving. I also just want to add, if we went off of our budgets based on what the city or what the county has done, if we went off the county's projection of what their budget has done, we'd have roughly about an extra $10 million a year to work with right now. If we went off with what the city has done, we'd have about an extra $5 million. We're looking for about $1 million, so 20% of that. Why the need for voter-approved funding? School districts have new mandates from the state, all of which cost additional money, including additional course requirements, paid medical leave, unemployment, discipline requirements, and mandated teacher training. The funding shortfall means most school districts rely on local taxpayers for support. 72%, we're not alone in this, 72% of school districts utilize an operating levy, and that number is continuing to grow. There's a tremendous amount of schools that are going out for operating levies this year. Our operating levy hasn't increased since 2004. How do Cannon Falls taxes compare to other districts? Now this is total school property taxes payable in 2025 on a home with an estimated market value of $375,000. So right now Cannon Falls is at $1,276. You'll see we just right below the middle of what our surrounding schools are. So just a few schools below us, a few above us, and some are significantly higher.
Clinton, do you know who's going out for referendum or a levy there?
For sure, Goodhue is. So that's where, if you look at Goodhue, where they're at right now, if I remember correctly, talking to Evan, their superintendent, based on what their home values are in Goodhue, they're asking for $800,000, and I believe that was going to raise It was going to be about $600 extra or something like that. So theirs would go up significantly higher on their tax base there.
I believe Farmington has one too, their yard sign.
Yeah, I think Farmington is also going out for one too. I haven't talked with their superintendent, so I don't know the specifics on that one. This graph here shows what we receive per pupil for total funding. So that's where you can see the state average is at $10,708. We are down at $9,452. We rank 283rd in the state. I will also say some of these schools down here that you see receive less. It's quite common that when we look at their MCA scores, a lot of those schools are towards the lower level on that as well. So it seems like that kind of correlates. So you can go on the MD website if you want to look of what every school has for test scores. What will be on the ballot? The Board of Independent School District number 252, Cannon Falls Area Schools, Minnesota has proposed to increase the school district's general education revenue by $950 per pupil, subject to an annual increase at the rate of inflation. Like I said, that is tied to the CPI. The proposed new referendum revenue authorization will be the first levied in 2025 for taxes payable in 2026 and applicable for 10 years unless otherwise revoked or reduced as provided by law. Shall the referendum revenue authorization proposed by the Board of Independent School District 252, Cannon Falls Area Schools, Minnesota be approved? Yes or no? By voting yes on the ballot question, you are voting for a property tax increase. So what's this going to cost you? This just kind of shows a chart so you can look up if you know what your property is worth. And this is a levy, so this goes based off of home, garage, and 1 acre. It is not all land. So if we look at the previous chart was based off of 375,000, which that's what we found was the average in the Cannon Falls School District. So 375, you'd be looking at about an increase of $325 a year, or roughly $27 a month. Now I'm going to go back up, if I can get that off. So if we add 325 to our 1276, we're going to be roughly around 1,600. That is still going to put us below Goodhue, but like we talked about, they are going out for an operating levy as well, which if theirs passes, they'll go up quite a bit. So we would jump Hastings, but we still would be right in the middle. On our website, you can pull up this exact presentation here, and then we have this tool right here where you can type in your estimated market value, and it'll show you exactly what your price increase would be. So what happens if the levy is not successful? If the levy is not successful, the school board will cut another $700,000 in staff, program, and services from the annual operating budget. And that's just for the next year. The year after that, there's going to be more, and the year after that, and it's going to continue and continue and continue because inflation continues to eat us up. School boards identified the following items for consideration to reduce expenses and increase revenue. Eliminate teaching positions, reducing the number of sections in the youngest grade levels and increasing class sizes to an average of 26 students per class. We're talking kindergarten through 2nd grade, having class sizes around 26 kids. State guidelines recommend around 17 to 19 for kindergarten and 1st grade for reference. I think everyone here can figure out what your better chances are for education with having either a 1 for 17 ratio or a 1 for 26. especially at that young age, when that's one of the most critical times for our young kids, where their brains are like a sponge.
And their bodies very active.
And that's going to come right into another cut that's coming up here. But I'll also add, we need to have staff that are willing to teach these bigger classes, okay? I can only think of when I have 10 or 11 over for birthday parties at that age and what I go through. I can't imagine having that many. So the next one, to your point, reduce physical education class to the state minimum. That would be every other day. We currently have every day. We're very proud of that. And that's where you think of those young kids, they need to release some energy. And we want to keep them fit. We want to keep them off of devices. We'll eliminate course offerings. We'll charge in-town bus usage. We're not required to bus anyone within 2 miles of our school. That is a state law. We choose to do it because it's the right thing to do. It's the safest thing to do. We have Highway 19 right out in front of our school, but we're not forced to. So by doing this, I would say that I don't think we'd eliminate it, but we will look at having people, we will charge people to do that. I don't know what that amount would be. It could be anywhere from $300 to $500 a year to ask people to ride the bus. We will reduce classroom and department operating budgets. We'll charge senior citizens and students to attend activities. We will increase rental rates and season pass fees. I will also add a lot of these different things that we're looking at increasing. They're already a large amount, and we already just increased them last year. A lot of these were all going to be 100% increases every single year. We'll increase activity participation fees. We're the largest in our conference right now. We're going to look at increasing them even more. What do you think that's going to do for getting kids to participate in more activities and sports? We're going to eliminate the family cap. We're going to reduce coaching staff for golf, reduce support staff positions, which will be administrative assistant, a custodian, and food service. We're already short in all those departments. We're going to charge to view live streaming of events. We'll fund the fall musical through community education. And here's the one. We'll look at possibly implementing a 4-day school week. Voting. Where can you vote? You can vote right now. Maybe not right at this minute, but you can vote between 8 o'clock and 4:30, Monday through Friday, all the way up to voting day on November 4th. Else, November 4th, right here at City Hall, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Anything here that you want to see this exact presentation, you want to see more information, just go to our website. Plenty of stuff there. I will also say that all my contact information is on the website, or superintendents, any of the other school board members. Feel free to reach out. We want that. I think we're up to about 24 or so presentations that we're doing here so far, but I want to meet with you. I don't care if it's one person, 10, 15, 20. If you have questions, please reach out. Any questions from the council?
I got one. Do you guys know, I mean, is there anything from the state? I mean, obviously the state passed down all this stuff and it's creating stress on you and your budget. Has the state or legislature or anybody indicated any sort of funding relief for you guys outside of the levy and all that stuff?
That is something that they continue to talk about every single year. The problem is it just doesn't tend to happen. And so that's where it's really tough to predict on what our funding is going to be like 5 years from now, 10 years from now.